Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian, know nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the Vault episode 4. This is actually our new series here. This is Trustee Training Spirituality Convos with Dr. Bay. Definitely excited about this episode. Definitely excited about having a conversation with Dr. Bay again. He's definitely been doing some episodes with us recently, and we're super appreciative of it, Dr. Bay, for you to be able to have these conversations with us. So wait 1 second here. Spiritual convos with Dr. Bay. So Dr. Bay, we have you on our line again. We're ever so thankful. We're ever appreciative of being able to have a quality conversation with you. To be able to have conversations with some people right now that really need your type of help, your level of knowledge. So we definitely thank you all. Feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com if you all want to be in contact with Trust Christian and Dr. Bay. We definitely are putting together what we say workshop or something because what happened was we got a bunch of people that have already reached out and said, hey, are you guys going to do something live or in person? So Dr. Bay and us, of course, we'll figure that out and we'll get that information to you. We're definitely doing the content right now so we can share with you all what we'll be going over and the importance of, slightly of what we're going to be going over. And this is important. So if somebody says, well, why would I reach out and want to do something live or in person? Because of the information we're going to talk about today. So we appreciate you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Once again, you can reach out Christian at trustchristian.com. Ladies and gentlemen, if you appreciate the information, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let's bring the channel up in the algorithm. Hit the like and hit the subscribe so you can get the notifications of when we actually go live with Dr. Bay. So, Dr. Bay, we're here. Today is one of those
Yes,
conversations. What would you say is the opening word for the day?
think.
Think.
Yes.
Are you aware that that's IBM's slogan or the former IBM slogan?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, just to let you, if people didn't know, this company literally built their entire company around the concept word think. And so everybody knows what IBM was in the 70s and the 80s. Maybe they fell off in the 90s, but IBM is still around to a degree, and they built a massive culture. They're you literally what Microsoft used to be. So they're very big. They used to be very big at least. Okay, so you got anything to say about that word think though, Dr. Bay?
Well, it involves the unity of that puts together wealth and power, doing it into a habitual form of energy that is spiritual.
Oh, thinking is spiritual?
Yes.
Okay. You care to elaborate more?
Well, all things are spiritual, and so thinking is a major role because it's your thoughts and subsequent action that is creating your world.
Okay. So no one else is in control? You're in control? Is there really no one else in control?
Well, when you say no one else in control,
Mm-hmm.
it depends on what you allow to be in control. Because you can allow things to be in control of you, but you are the one allowing it to be in control of you. And that's whether it's judicial law, and there are 9 of them, or whether it is the action and reactions that you have to the situations that you encounter in life.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that because we can talk about a lot of things, but thinking has to do with your health. So a healthy level of thinking. What does that look like? Is there a template? Is there a standard for healthy thinking? And let's talk about the health stuff today, Dr. Bay.
Okay. Well, uh, there's a righteous and an unrighteous side to any and everything. So certainly there is a righteous side of health. We've been told that if you know better, you do better. And that's one of the biggest lies on earth. Most people know better than smoking, drinking, using drugs, and all of the many, many things they do that they shouldn't do. So your thoughts is one thing, and your subsequent action is another thing. They are designed to be in partnership with each other. So we should think of only the things we want righteously, and you know, uh, uh, and not the things we don't want unrighteously to happen to us. I mention quite often the brother Art that was in Atlanta one time when I was there, and that mentioned to me that the doctor had mentioned to him that the reason he came, that I had trained him in health, and I questioned that, and he said yes. He said that he was going around telling people that mucus was a major cause of health, and that he learned from me that mucus wasn't even one of the causes, and there were six causes of health challenges, and there are six causes, but the number one cause goes back to your thinking, your thoughts. Your thoughts can make you happy or unhappy. They can cause you to have anxiety or tension or worry or grief. Uh, Smile and be happy and enjoy and understand. So your thoughts are extremely important in your health. As a matter of fact, your health is based around your thoughts.
Okay, so some
If
people
I
say, "How do I
mentioned,
start? How do I start?" That's what they want to say. How do I start if they feel like they were going in a negative cycle or a cycle that is not in the way in which it's the ideal cycle. They want to change. They act people. What if someone comes to you and says, "I want to make some changes"? The proper people.
well, I'd have them get in touch with you.
Okay.
And so that we can set up a system for them, because everything that works is in a system. It is not just one da da da. It's a whole system of understanding and things that affect various aspects of things that causes things to be in existence or to work properly. Whether it's you or a car or an airplane or what have you. It's just, if your lungs ain't working right, the system ain't going to work right in you. If the battery ain't working right, the system ain't going to run right in the car. And you could go on and on. You could take any part of that system, all of it needs to be in place and operating properly.
Very important, Dr.
So,
Bay, when you talk about the system, very important. Because the
yeah,
system's
we
bigger
got to
than one thing.
understand. Oh, yes, the system is a part of one thing, but, uh, and that is that particular system. But it is made up of many different things. We do not realize that we have millions, probably billions, different aspects of us just in the cellular structure of our body. And that all of these are forms of things that are natural, and that we need to consume the natural nutrition along with the proper thoughts to lead us to do so, That's reading in my daily success covenant. I say I have thought about and done the things that is righteous or good for me only. So anytime you put something in there that's not righteous and not good for you, it's going to make everything go in a righteous and an unrighteous way that is not good for you. And I shouldn't say everything, but major things go that way and not just one thing.
Because
So,
you're engaged in something that's unrighteous in another area?
well, usually uh, you could engage in something that's unrighteous, but the overall effect combines them in an individual. Most people have things that they do that are righteous and things that they do that are unrighteous.
Right?
There's you would you would have a hard time finding somebody that everything they do is righteous. And as hard as I try, I even question sometimes if some of the things I do is as righteous as they need to be.
Yeah.
If we understand that thinking is the first aspect of it, and then the second aspect of it has to do with our generational genes and chromosomes. In other words, usually if you go to a doctor or a clinic, they're going to, and you got some ailment, or they're going to ask you, does this run in your family? Because it is the strength and the weakness that run in your family that is transmitted to you in your physiological structure. So if you know what they are, then the thing is to start doing what is necessary to strengthen them instead of keep on doing what's necessary to weaken them. And so it is very important to know what runs in your family or if something runs in your family. And equal, if not more important, once you know, to consume the things that will strengthen what runs in your family that weakens you. Then the next thing is the thing that has happened to me, injury.
Right.
Injury can be something where you was in a car wreck and injured yourself, or somebody was shooting at somebody else and even hit you and injured yourself, or you fell and on some ice and injured yourself. Injury can come from any number of sources. But what we got to realize is that injury is one of the factors. And based on what is injured, it also has to do with what you need to consume to repair the injury, because the body is divinely designed to repair itself every 7 to 10 years.
Okay.
I always say 9. So this, you got those 3. You got your thoughts, you got your heredity, and you got your injury. Then you got 3 more that we deal with daily, pretty much. The first one is ingestion. What are you taking through the process of your system based on what you're putting in your mouth, and should be chewing, by the way? As I tell people, you don't really need to do what I call eating anything. You need to drink everything. In other words, whatever it is, you need to chew it long enough that it becomes liquid. That's the reason why you have the saliva under your tongue. And then you're supposed to drink it down because that chewing and that liquid part of it is going to help the processing part of it that is called digestion. And so the main thing is to make sure that you consume the right thing and never the wrong thing.
Right.
Consume only what is good for you. Now, it say only what is good for you, never what is detrimental to you, what is righteous for you. And then the next thing you look at is your skin. It is the largest organ that you got,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the most effective organs that you have. And somebody asked me about the picture like that I showed you of the shirt that I had on. And I know you wanted me to put on a tie and a suit and all that type of stuff.
Right.
But people don't understand that all of those things are blocking your skin from doing what it needs to do. You need to have things that are opened so that the air can flow in and out. You really don't need to have clothes on at all, but if you do have clothes on, you need to allow the skin the process of breathing and not get hung up in what we have got hung up in, a concern about hair and skin, don't care where it is. No other species on the earth is hung up into hair and skin, don't care where it is. They don't put on no clothes. Now, some of them do travel from climate to climate during the various seasons. You can see the ducks and the geese and not only that, but if you got in the water, there is fish that travel from one area to the other area during the various seasons. So they don't have to wear no clothes. But we don't understand that you cannot block and you should not block up the skin. You should free it as much as possible to breathe as much as possible so that your health can be maintained. Because it is a major part. They say that you can take something like paint and totally paint your body and kill yourself because the body needs to breathe. And so it is very important that we do so and that we get where we understand what we need to do. If clothes are going to represent us, then we got some mixed up systems about us. Clothes is not supposed to represent you at all. You are supposed to represent you. And if somebody's going to value you and respect you based on you having clothes on, they just don't understand. So we need to think what we're doing. Is it good for us or bad for us? Is it righteous or unrighteous? And so now that you... Go ahead, question.
I was just gonna say, and it's just that simple, huh, Dr. B?
Absolutely. We want people to judge us by something else that's not us.
Okay, well, do you think you can develop character, or do you think you just have it?
Well, that is development. Habit is a development of character. You have developed your character by forming various habits.
Right.
But is it the right character, the proper character, the needed character to do what you need to do to benefit yourself and others too, present and future generations, and make all of your dreams come true.
Yeah, sounds easier said than done. Now, let's talk about
Absolutely.
your health and working with others because it seems as though people have issues working with other people nowadays. So, talk about how we can work together to improve our health.
Okay. Well, let me close out where I was because we left one of the things out.
Okay.
Because you can live weeks or months without eating. You can even live without drinking days or weeks or so. You can't live an hour without breathing.
All right.
So your breath is extremely important. And what you're breathing in. Every species on Earth except us tend to know that smoke is detrimental to you. And I don't care whether it smells good or not, it's still detrimental. It has, if you've been around a smoke chimney, tar to it, as they call it. And that stuff is clogging up and blocking your system so it does not function properly. Now let's go to where you wanted this to go.
The breathing
A
aspect.
major, well, breathing is along those lines. You should never put on anything that is not natural. These synthetic oils and things that they may say if a bottle for $5, 3 bottles for $10 or whatever, is detrimental to you. What you breathe in is extremely important.
Yep. I
We
agree with
got
it.
to realize, yeah, we got to realize that we don't realize. We don't think. Sounds good, so I'll do it. That's something I'd like to have. We got to consider whether it's righteous or unrighteous, whether it is good for us or detrimental to us. Many of us don't realize that in the breathing process, even how to breathe. You know, it's interesting that at many of the conferences I've given, I have people do breathing tests to show them when and what and how they should breathe and how to test and find out whether it's the right way to breathe. So if they get in touch with you, that's one of the things we're going to do because so many people have blocked their breathing system and it's not breathing properly.
Right.
And we can show you what you need to do to clear your breathing system and start back breathing the way you were divinely designed to do.
Well, isn't that an unconscious thing, our breathing?
It's on automatic pilot, yes, and it's based on habits that we've formed.
Okay, so it doesn't work perfectly without us kind of always having an eye on it.
Well, a habit works perfectly good or bad, depending on which habit you structured. People that breathe properly ongoingly, and people that does not breathe right, does not breathe right ongoingly. The body forms a habitual pattern.
So, okay. And that's definitely important, Dr. Bay, when we talk about breathing, because breathing goes along with meditation. So when we talk about masterminding and meditation, working together, using your thoughts and using the healthy thoughts, how do you tie that into breathing and meditation with other people?
Well, that's a whole system, and just
Okay.
like I say, have them get in touch with you, and
Yes.
we'll show them what to do and how to do it.
Christian at trustchristian.com, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to reach out, contact me, Dr. Bay, Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you. So let's hop back into it, Dr. Bay. Go ahead.
Okay, now you, what was the question you asked me before we?
Just how does the healthy aspect work when it comes to working with groups? Maybe even people holding you accountable and things like that. But more so, how do you work with groups in the healthy aspect?
Um, Truthfully speaking, a group really should know each other and the areas of compatibility and the areas of uncompatibility. Women have major challenges, especially women whose first vowel in their name is an A. Why? Because the world is in the shape it's in, good or bad, because of people whose first vowel is an A. Whether it's Al Capone, or Adolf Hitler, or Alexander the Great, or Malcolm X, or Mahatma Gandhi, or Hannibal, or Augustus Caesar, or Napoleon Bonaparte, or Franklin Delano Roosevelt, or Abraham Lincoln, or Marcus Garvey, or Marcus Aurelius, or Shaka. You could just go on and on and on. And men have been wrongfully taught that they're supposed to be the boss. And women whose first vowels in A know that ain't no bossing them around. But since the average person don't know that, and if they're working in a group, they may think if the woman is the one that got the A, they may think the man still needs to be the boss, whether it's in a household group or family, or whether it's in a social group or a spiritual group or whatever it is. We got to realize that we need to understand ourselves and everybody else in order to get along with us. Like I gave the example about fire. You need to understand that if you put your hand in the fire, it'll burn you. Same thing with working with a group. You need to know who knows and does what and how and why they do it that way. And that's a major part of the training that we take people through. Because we want you to unite. Collective consciousness is the most powerful force in the universe. And it's amazing. I give the example in my book of if you got a one battery flashlight, and we're talking about energy and electricity, that's what operates us as well as other things. So if you got a one battery flashlight, it makes a light. If you had two batteries, it don't get twice as bright. It multiplies itself and squares itself in brightness. It's just like if you have a straight line that's a mile, that's one thing. If you add another mile to it and square it, then it's a 1 mile this way, 1 mile the next way, 1 mile the next way, 1 mile the next way, and all the areas in between. That's how powerful it is. But I give the example too that you can have a 5 battery flashlight, have every battery in there turned correct except one. Turn one battery backwards and the light will not come on. We got to realize the importance of collective consciousness. Having a mutual goal and realizing what role you should play in accomplishing it.
So I was,
That's reading
I was gonna
I
say, Dr. Bay.
suggest as a part. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Dr. Bay, it's basically like you saying they're divinely designed. You know, when you use that term, they're divinely designed for that specific thing.
Absolutely. And there's a reason even now that they're together, or that they are the ones that came together.
Okay, here's a good question. So just like the Nomo Dogon legacy of knowledge, somebody has to want the information. Did you have a choice to want the information, or just like it's like it was your son? You know, they didn't want to learn it. So, what do you think about that? Like, when it comes to someone saying, "Okay, I'm gonna go fulfill my role," what was? Did you have a choice in that, or do you think it was already in you? Like your dad was going to train you anyways, regardless. So, could you talk about that?
Well, no, and that's why there are only four of us left with the information.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because even with my sons, I wanted to train my oldest son, like you said, but he had been the courts had gave his mother custody of him, and he had been with her, and he wanted to be a minister. He didn't want to hear the truth, and so I didn't try to force it on him.
Right.
But we don't know that we don't know, and that's when I say you can't blame the pastor. You can, you know, I teach people about the P's. There's prayer, praise, preacher, parsonage, pulpit, pope. I could go on and on. And these systems don't understand that vibration, what it does, and how it can be systematized and utilized to control and criticize others and make them feel inferior.
Right.
But we will train in all of those so that you'll know. That way you'll be able to demonstrate and show so you can grow.
And that's all you gotta know. You gotta study every day so you can get to know. Yeah.
It
Talk
has to
about that,
become a
Doctor.
habit.
Talk about that, Doctor Bay. Talk about rhyming. And I remember hearing you say your dad rhymed all the time. It's kind of wild to know somebody could rhyme with their words all the time. But could you talk about that and how powerful it is in utilizing that?
I really never thought about it, but that's a good question. Uh, Rhyming is something like music. A lot of people, they just go to the beat and the sound, and the music may be programming them any kind of way, but they like the rhythm of what it does and causes them to feel and say. So, to me, what we really need to do is eliminate the things that are anti us. It's just like, and I shouldn't give this example, but I will.
All right.
Just like my son was a writer for Tupac. I couldn't tell you not one song he wrote because I couldn't even tell you not even one song that Tupac ever sung. But I'm sure some of them were righteous and unrighteous that he wrote. But I know this, that some of the things I heard him say, I don't want to hear it no kind of way.
Right. Okay, so do you? Okay, so is there such thing as if you make unrighteous money that bad things are gonna happen to you?
There is a such thing as sowing and reaping,
Okay, good.
and you don't even have to do it in this lifetime. That's what a karmic debt is. You're reaping something from a previous lifetime.
Okay,
And that's one of the reasons I like to take people through a spiritual rebirth so that they can see that what is and what isn't, and what caused and what didn't cause.
Well, there's something that quite a few
Thank
people
you.
have reached out already about Dr. Bay's spiritual rebirth and wanting to develop themselves
Absolutely.
in person. So we're working on a date. We got Dr. Bay right here. We're gonna work on a date that we can coordinate so everybody can come together and actually we're gonna coordinate that. Is this something you'd be open to doing before the end of this fiscal year, Dr. Bay?
Yeah, I'm working on something. I haven't come up with what it is, and they can get with you and find out what it is that we're going to give to that
Okay.
will. Because my goal is to give things that will create us to be wiser, happier, healthier, and wealthier.
Right. And even in this episode, ladies and gentlemen, we did our best to talk about some health things. Not every health challenge, but Dr. Bay is actually a trained MD, so he does have a background in surgery. We've had these conversations before, but we definitely appreciate you for tuning in live, listening to replay. And so this episode is really focused on the health. But when we talk about a spiritual rebirth, you can feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Definitely looking forward to doing an episode with Dr. Bay or doing an actual event. A lot of people have asked about that. We could do something simple. Dr. Bay does travel, and we will make it a point to do something. So just feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com so we can start tallying up the numbers because Dr. Bay does have a set number of people he wants to work with. And so, that is something we definitely are going to take into account. So feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Any parting words, Dr. Bay, whether it's health related or not, we just appreciate you.
Well, my parting word is always you got to think and get where you know so you can demonstrate and show. Because the only way to solve any problem is to know what caused it and stop doing what caused it.
So you got to know what the problem is and stop doing what caused it.
Yes,
You said stop doing what caused it? Or
yes.
keep replaying the memory of that cause because it's more well, what caused it. Some people would say was outside of their control.
Well, very few things outside our control.
Okay, for example, if someone experienced a situation when they were younger and they're older now and they're still experiencing that trauma, okay, they didn't let it go yet. That's fair. At the same time, Dr. B, that was outside of their control if they experienced that trauma. Would you agree?
Not necessarily.
Right, because you're gonna say that they knew what was gonna happen before they came back to this plane of existence, anyways.
To a major degree.
Okay, okay. So a lot of responsibility on the individual. Um, Definitely appreciate you for having these conversations with us, Dr. Bay, about our health, our wealth, and our happiness, and even our wisdom. We're not gonna forget our wisdom, Dr. Bay. We're going. The next episode might be catered towards our wisdom. We have talked about the health. We definitely could talk longer about the health. Yesterday we talked about, we definitely talked about the wisdom. Maybe at one point we'll get in here about the money, about the wealth. So look forward to having these conversations with you, Dr. Bay. Continue having these conversations about your health, and even this conversation today was very very important about how powerful our thoughts are, and being able to come together and leverage our thoughts together. Collective consciousness, how powerful collective consciousness is, and how real collective consciousness is. But understanding, okay, if there is a collective consciousness, you don't have to worry, can it be done? You just have to come together and have the faith that it will get done. We can't complain about it getting
Absolutely.
done. We have to just come together. We could point out all the problems. Oh, there's a problem with this. There's a problem with that. Just like Dr. Bay said, we could find a reason to do or we could find a reason not to do. So sure, we could come in and say, oh, this isn't picture perfect, or oh, well, there's a situation going on with this, that, and the third. Well, Dr. Bay's already shared with you that it's about our thoughts. So if we come together, we're gonna be stronger together than we are by yourself, out there on the island, feeling lost and lonely. Oh man, I gotta change my habits by myself. I wonder if somebody's gonna save me. Who's gonna save you? The collective consciousness that's governing your life, directly and indirectly. But you have to choose to use the collective consciousness to your favor, to your benefit. And the way that you do that is by coming together. There's no way around it. You have to submit your ego. You have to get over the problems for a few minutes. We have to visualize solutions to the problems. That's how we solve the problems. Not sitting here conversing about them. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Feel free to see you all reaching out. Oh, we want to reach out. Christian, we just wanted to reach out and see, are we going to do something together or not? We are going to do something together. But it involves people reaching out, us taking a tally, us coming together and making the things happen. And Dr. Bay already does spiritual retreats, quote unquote. Those things already happen. It's just, okay, are you going to be there? Are you going to reach out? And that's going to come from you all reaching out saying, we look forward to hearing from you all. Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace and joy.